Access Fort Wayne offers reflections of our community. Production facilities provided by Access Fort Wayne are a service of the Allen County Public Library. The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily represent those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting organizations. For more information about creating your own television program with Access Fort Wayne, call 421-1250.
Carl Fowler is our co-host, and our guest today is a Vietnam veteran, Jerry Fleehart. Welcome to the show, Jerry.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you.
When did you enter the service?
I went in September '69.
Okay.
I went down to Chicago Processing Depot, and then they took us from there to the airport. First time I was ever on an airplane. Flew me down to Fort Jackson, South Carolina, where I took my basic. My eyes were open then. I said, hey, we're not in Kansas anymore.
That's where you're originally from, Kansas?
No, I'm from Southern Illinois, but I mean, it's just, but it was, when I got down there, we didn't think nothing about it. I mean, we're just having a good time until the DIs come on that bus and said, and called us every name in the book to get off that bus. But, and then,
that opened your eyes.
Opened our eyes a little bit.
Things have changed.
Yeah, and then they taking blood. They take blood in Chicago, then they took blood down there, and they thought they got all that out of order. And I mean, this officer, one doctor, he said when they found out, they thought they had him out of order and was going to have to redo them all. He threw that syringe across the wall and stuck it in the wall. My eyes were about that big around. I said, "Whoa, I don't know if I want this or not."
Yeah. Okay, you said processing center in Chicago. You mean Fort Sheridan, was it? Or?
It was. I don't know if it's could have been Fort Sheridan. I don't remember what it was. We just processed in there, and then he just took us to the airport, and we were gone.
Okay.
So we didn't go back home, and didn't collect $200, and didn't go past goal. So we just went down there.
I asked that same question. I mean, whether it was Fort Sheridan.
Oh.
Probably was. It's downtown Chicago.
Now this was right downtown, so it was right downtown.
Well,
So it's,
North Edge, I believe.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, you had how much basic then? 16 weeks basic?
we had 8 weeks basic, then I had 12 weeks MOS training.
Oh. MOS and what?
31 mic. It was a VHF, UHF radio operator and carrier attendant. So we took care of all the radio calls went through our telephone calls went through our radio equipment. So we had the carriers. The carriers were each channel. We can go in there and listen to all their talk and everything else. We knew what was going on everywhere. So
Good.
You was voice though. You wasn't key, was you?
no, we were voice. We did have teletype that went through some of ours,
Okay.
and I have had some training on Morse code. So it's and that's a lost art too now. Morse
Yes,
code.
it is.
Yeah.
I'd learn Morse code.
Dots and dashes.
Yeah.
Yeah, I never did. They shipped you off to Vietnam then after basic or after your MOS
Well, I
training?
went. What I did, I went there, and then I went from the bus, and we went down to Georgia for school. And I had a good time in school. I mean, I played on the battalion basketball team. We won our company won the battalion championship, and I got a trophy for playing basketball for them. So,
Did you?
and then after school, my whole group was going to go to Vietnam, and my brother was over there. So they said, "You're not going," and I said, "Well, I want to go." I didn't know what I was getting myself into, so I had to fill out a waiver to go over there.
There was just two of you and your brother?
Yeah. And I had one other brother, so they let us go. So
Oh,
now, if there was just only the two of us, they wouldn't have let me go
wouldn't let you.
until he came back.
Yeah.
Okay.
But then we went to Vietnam, I tell you what, my eyes were opened in Vietnam. I mean, you went over there, I mean, and you've seen people living in cardboard boxes.
That's a whole different world, isn't it?
You talk about third world. I mean, you go over there, it's just totally different. I mean, you see water buffalo plowing the rice paddies and everything else. I mean, it was.
I guess you still see that today, don't you?
To some extent, yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lady that's an airline stewardess that went to Vietnam. She went there with a group, and she said it still smells over there, and you got a distinct smell over there. It is terrible. I mean, because
They use human waste too much.
Oh yeah, yeah. And if they had to go potty, they didn't care where it was. They went right out in the street. So I mean, you get over there and it's just everything just sandbags everywhere. I know my first day over there, we flew into Saigon. We flew in on yellow condition. Red is under fire, yellow is caution, green is just peaceful right there. But we flew in on yellow.
You flew from here to Vietnam?
No, I flew from, I went from Chicago, I went to Oakland, California.
Okay.
Processed through Oakland. We went up through Alaska, stopped at Anchorage, then we went to Japan, and then we went to Vietnam.
Okay.
So yeah, and then we got there. I can remember first day over there. I don't know how I was so lucky. I always got stuck on KP. But
Well, you ate good.
oh, I mean, I can remember they're serving the GIs the powdered eggs.
Mm-hmm.
And GIs wasn't, but there was a big rat down between my feet eating that. Here, I'll give you some more. You eat more, and Dutch don't bother me.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's just come down there, and then when I get off KP, I go take a shower. And Mama San just walks right through the shower.
Right.
I'm in here. They didn't care.
No.
You had to watch and make sure they didn't steal your clothes, but they would walk right through and take everything in they could see.
It's a big surprise, isn't it?
And then you get up there and you see all that other stuff. And then you get your signal site. And they process it, send you out to your site where you go because the company was up in Quin Yan. And then they send you out to your signal site. And I was fortunate. Mine was on the Air Force base, so where we had our signal site. We had a 120-foot tower painted orange and white signal caller with a red flashing light on it. Charlie had shot that back asthma on that thing, dropping rockets and mortars on us all the time.
Trying to knock it out.
No, they not knock us out.
No, the tower.
No, they didn't want to knock that tower out.
Is that right?
Because the runway was right on the other side of us. And they were trying to hit those jets and stuff on that runway.
Oh, okay.
They dropped that napalm.
Oh.
Wow.
That napalm. And I was up on LZ English at the time, sitting there watching those jets was dropping that napalm. And that stuff was nasty stuff because you get it on it, you can't get it off of.
Yeah, it sticks to you.
Yeah.
And all it is just diesel fuel and Tide washing powders and an igniter.
Yeah.
But once it gets to you, because it's like a gel,
Yeah.
and you can't get it off. But we'd sit up there and watch them drop that napalm on them, and we used to call them gooks because a normal human being can't go out and kill another normal human being. You have to demoralize them because you call them gooks, then they weren't actually human.
Right.
So subconsciously you think about, can I go out and shoot somebody? That's why you had to kind of demoralize them. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I can understand that.
So.
And my grandson asked me, he's 10 years old, Josh. He asked me, he said, Grandpa, did you ever have to kill anybody in Vietnam? And I said, Josh, I will tell you this way. I will not tell you yes, and I will not tell you no. I said, what I will tell you, I did my job to come home, and we'll never talk about it again. That's it.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And that's the best policy right there.
Yeah.
It's the best policy. There's lots of guys that have pulled the trigger, and they're not proud of it or anything, it's just a matter of survival. And you do what you have to do.
And with the M16, what we were firing in the M60 machine gun, there was so much fire going on. You didn't know who killed who. You just,
Yeah.
But it's just, yeah, if you got in a firefight, you just, I mean, and these kids today going in, I mean, when we was at the school on Veterans Day, I don't think they understand what's going on. Once they got over if they get over to Afghanistan, they will understand the difference in what it is.
Yeah.
Because when you war and you're killed, you're not getting up like a video game. You're done.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think you're right. I don't think they have a concept of what really
No.
goes on. And that's too bad, because I think that knowledge would help everybody.
Yes.
I think that would help everybody understand what's going on and better prepare them to why it's going on.
Yeah. Video game. You play the game and then you get up and walk away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can lay the machine down and turn it off, you know.
Yeah.
That's
Everybody
it.
gets up and walks away, yeah.
But you see your buddies killed
Or wounded.
and parts laying here and there, and that's a gory mess, and it's a gory story. And I wouldn't wish it on anybody,
I tell
but it happens.
Yeah, we would go down, when we had to go back to our company, we'd have to go back and go through these little villages. And I seen people, Viet Cong hung. You've seen dead bodies alongside the road and everything. And the trouble is, we didn't know who we was fighting over there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yes.
I mean,
Exactly.
it wasn't not like World War II or World War I, where you had a line and you guys were fighting for
They
territory.
had a uniform.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But ours, I mean, they could be Mama San and Papa San's working for you during the day, and you're fighting them at night.
Yes. We've had other guests say that.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just, you never knew. And they would have a little kid standing on the side of the road and just push a claymore and kill when the Jeep comes by. He don't realize he's going to get blown up too.
Yeah.
But that's how they would play.
Yeah.
And when I went up to see my brother when he got his leg shot off over there, I was over there at the same time. The worst smell I ever smelled was a kid starving to death. I'll never forget that smell. And then I seen another little kid over there, a 79 round. You know what a 79 round is? It's like a grenade launcher. It's really just a
Okay. Yeah.
launcher's grenade. Well, it has to spin so many times, he ran over and picked it up, and it blew up in his hands, just blew his hands completely off. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, you feel sorry for the little kids. It's just,
They didn't ask for it. They don't understand it. They don't know, but they're there, right in the middle of it. That's pretty bad. Yeah.
So what was your job there then?
I supplied them with their telephones sitting on their desks. All their telephone calls went through our radio equipment. So we could go and listen on any part of the war we wanted to, because it came through. Because they needed some artillery, they got artillery. We got the artillery so I supplied division artillery communications everywhere. Division artillery I went to. So I mean, all their calls went through our radio equipment. So.
So even if you make a telephone call, chances are it's relayed by radio.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So, and had to have special frequencies to come up on, and had to come down. So you had to had the book. Well, when I was a sergeant, I got the book, and it had all the codes in the book, and then you'd have to go up and look at it. They give you a number, and you'd have to check that number out and letters and stuff, and find out what frequency you come back up on, because you couldn't shut the radios off without having new frequencies to come back up on. You had to make sure you knew, because if you turned them off and didn't have new frequencies, you weren't coming back up, because you can't pick any frequencies. It was all controlled what frequencies you could be on.
Yeah. I don't think it was like that in Korea. I think it was all wire, solid wire.
No, there was radio. It depended. There was radio at bases. Let me put it that way.
Yeah.
Not in the front lines. Okay.
Okay.
the front lines would use to crank once.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, they used to crank. Then they get back. Once they got back to us, then there's calls, and we would transfer them where they need to go and then patch them through to get what they needed. If they need the airstrike, artillery, or whatever they needed, we got it for them.
Okay.
Any headquarters would have had radio.
All right.
Yeah.
And like we had different sites, like about every 20, 30 miles, we had a new signal site. So we weren't at our home base. We would be assigned to other places out in the, where they had bases, so they could have their radio equipment.
Okay. All right. I know it's not true in Vietnam, but say in Korea, where the front kept moving, did the radio communications keep moving also?
You would have the crank radios, like he was talking about,
right.
the crank radios.
Yeah, and wire,
Yeah.
solid wire.
Yeah, just your signal corps would come along when the lines advance and so forth, and you establish new line. They're laying new lines right up there.
Yeah, all
The
right.
linemen are, but they're on the ground. They're not putting them up on poles.
Oh no, you could.
And they're burying
I
some
know we
of them as they go.
We could call different units. The further away you got, you can barely hear them.
Well, you was in artillery,
Yeah.
so you had to have communications for your fire control.
Oh yeah. Well, that was solid wire.
The solid wire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wire is a lot more, what I want to say, it's a lot more dependable than wireless.
Until it got broken.
Yeah, till it got broken.
Then the poor guy
Well,
had to go out
that
there.
was the other thing the signal guys had to do is they had to patrol that wire and check it every once in a while, make sure nobody tapped into it or that it was broken.
I went up to the forward observer at one time, and there was more wire strung up there than.
You could trip over the stuff if you
Oh,
wasn't careful.
geez. It was strung through the brush, and
Yeah. But communications is very important, in any war, and that goes back for centuries.
yeah, I don't
They
think
had to
they
have
repaired it. Yeah,
communications.
they could just run a new wire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But his communications from Vietnam and my communications in the Korean War is entirely different. They'd really made some advances.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
And like today now, that they don't even probably have my radio equipment there. They bounce it all off satellites now.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
So they don't. So the MOS is just changing all the time with the new technology and everything. So, well, now you won't even see a line anymore with all the drones and everything. You won't even see pilots flying them for years.
Well,
Yeah.
It just goes.
It's not making any friends though, but I believe in those drones in the war.
well, I do too, but
If they're flying around here, I'd just soon shoot them down.
it may come to that because I guess these other countries are getting highly interested in drones too, and making their own. And you could fly a drone to the United States.
There's going to be a lot of commercial stuff.
You're not limited to the pilot, sitting there in a seat for 8, 10, 12 hours or whatever. So a drone can go up there, and as long as it's got fuel, it can keep flying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, our trouble in Vietnam was, it was a war that nobody wanted, and we were the jerks for going fighting the war.
Yeah.
And you were the hero for going to Canada.
Yeah.
So I mean, and then with Jane Fonda go over to Ho Chi Minh and tell him, hey, we were wrong for being over there fighting. So I mean,
She's got a reputation among all servicemen, and
Oh.
that's not good.
that's not very good at all.
And I see every once in a while she in the newspapers or the magazines or something this way, and I thought, oh, how can anybody even publicize her?
Yeah.
So
So you got a picture here, Jerry, of what's.
Now that's the crew I was with in up at Phuket, and if you notice, I'm over on the left-hand side on that picture.
That good-looking one?
Yeah, the one kneeling down there. That's me when I had hair
yeah, well,
and
we
a
all
lot
had-
skinnier.
We all had hair back then, but
I see everyone wore their hair long.
Yeah, there wasn't too much dress code over there.
Yeah.
I mean, it wasn't back in the States where you had to have your boots, blouse, and shirt tails in and everything else.
You didn't have inspections like we had in
We
the
did not
States.
have inspections. I mean,
Yeah.
but
Okay.
I mean, no, we didn't have too much
Yeah.
inspection. So, but yeah, it was. I mean, it was a different place. It was a different place. I mean, I'm not sorry I went. I'm just sorry they didn't let us do our job over there.
Yeah.
I mean, we weren't allowed to fire unless we had permission to fire back, even though they're firing at us. And I heard over, and same with you guys in Korea, you would walk guard duty without bullets.
That is true.
So
But I could never understand that order that you wasn't allowed to fire back at somebody, even though they're firing you. And I guess that still holds true today over in Afghanistan and that. They have to have permission to fire back.
they can't even go out on patrol with their guns chambered. I mean, we have to be so politically correct.
Yeah.
Even though they're sitting out there firing, and they used to small kids and everything. They used to go in the villages and use the villages to fire back at us, knowing that we can't go in there because we're going to get bad publicity because we're shooting at kids and women over there.
Don't you think it's going to be very difficult for us to win that kind of war?
It's almost impossible to win that kind of war.
That's my feeling too. How do you feel about it?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I think you can fight the war, but it's a cause that is never ending.
Yeah. The ones in Washington is going to have to stop trying to run the war halfway around the world. They're going to let their generals.
Let their generals do it, yeah.
Yep.
Because I mean, what do they know? I mean, when they captured Saddam Hussein, I mean, they were sitting there at the White House watching it as they went in there. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, what if something went wrong?
Yeah.
You know,
Powerless to do anything about it. Once it goes wrong, it's
I mean, you're sitting
too
there,
late.
They're sitting there watching what's going on with everything going on. So, I mean, it's just, and that's why with Iraq, I mean, that was the first one. I mean, you could see the war was televised, and ours was televised, but they had it on film. And then they come back and showed it on film, but you didn't see them on the front line on the actual fighting when we were actually fighting. Yeah. But this, I mean, I was working for a phone company and watched on television. They had a bomb. They blew a hole in the building, and then they sent a bomb right through that hole. It blew in the building. I mean, it was just. And you're sitting there watching the war on, and that's another part where the kids don't get it. Hey, we're watching the war on TV. This is TV. It's not really real.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Well, my view of Vietnam War is a motion picture of Forrest Gump, remember?
Yeah.
And that was jungle fighting. And I imagine some of it was, but probably lots of it wasn't.
No, we used to have mortars and rockets dropped up on us all the time, and the gooks would try to come over the wire all the time. You'd have them coming over the wire, but because I mean they had all the foliage dead around the bases and everything. So they had all the foliage completely dead, and I mean back, and you could knew when they were coming.
Yeah. So they stripped that back quite a way so to give them good field of fire.
And then with the Agent Orange that they sprayed on, everything was green one day and then brown the next day. So I mean,
You could tell.
yeah. But I mean, a lot of people don't understand that some of the women over there at the Viet Cong, they were their pack mules. The women carried all the supplies down Ho Chi Minh Trail. They carried a lot of them down there.
Oh.
And there was, I mean, if you ever read the book Welcome Home, Davy.
I haven't. No.
But he was in the coast or in the Navy, and riding up down the rivers on a PT boat. One day they come up, they just happened to be firing at a graveyard, and these gooks come up running out of the graves. What they had actually done, they carried their supplies down the Ho Chi Minh Trail. They dug out the graves. They would sleep in the graves during the daytime, and then carry the supplies at nighttime. And it just by accident, because they were playing over there, just see what they could hit, and they come up.
Scared them out of their graves.
Scared them out of their graves.
Oh, jeez.
So it's, yeah, he tells a story of that in his book. So it's just, but
Well, when you come back, did you have any problems with people,
Disrespecting you?
yeah, disrespecting you?
well, we had people calling us baby killers, and, you know, and it's just, I mean, when we went to the airport, as we left Fort Lewis, Washington, they say you might not want to wear that uniform home. You might want to go get some civilian clothes
Yep.
to go home, get on the airplane and go home, because people would, I mean,
And that's just opposite of what your mindset is, because the mindset is you should be proud to wear that uniform, right?
yep,
You should be proud to take it out into the community and receive some kudos or thanks. And instead of that, it's a shame.
yeah, because, I mean, like I said, they all went to Canada, and then they were partying, so, I mean.
I never understood that either.
So,
No, I didn't either.
But that was the time, place at the time, so, I mean.
Yeah. So how many months did you spend in Vietnam?
I was there 11 and a half months, and the only reason I got out 2 weeks early was that they were closing down our site and changing us to another site, and captain there at the news station said he's only got 2 weeks. We're not going to set him up on detail and schedule. I mean, it's usually for 2 weeks, so they just let me come home 2 weeks early. So
Yeah.
Well, that was pretty good.
Yeah. I came home just a little bit early because I was due to be discharged.
Yeah. Well, I didn't come home that
I
much
still spent a
early.
year there, you know.
Yeah.
no, when I got home, then I went down to Fort Riley, Kansas, where I was signed to the Big Red One then.
Yeah.
Okay, I finished out your tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I want to thank you very much for your service. I
Thank you.
appreciate
Thanks for yours,
the fact that you served your country.
and welcome home.
Right on.
Was you married at the time?
No,
Okay.
didn't even have a girlfriend.
Yeah.
Met my wife down in Manhattan, Kansas.
Did you?
Okay.
So,
Do you feel that you really served under a proud situation, or do you regret your service, or?
I do not regret my service. I was still honored to serve my country.
Exactly.
And I don't regret what I did. I regret the way
Things turned out.
things turned out and how they treated you and how they, because I mean, it was a war that nobody wanted. They didn't want it.
Yeah.
It was, Lady Bird Johnson got rich off that war.
Did she? Yeah.
She got filthy rich off that war.
Well, Jerry, we're out of time.
Okay,
Thank you for being on the
Okay.
show, and thank
Thank
you
you.
for your service.
thank you.
Yeah. Hope you enjoyed the show. We're on Friday evenings at 7 p.m. If you see a veteran or someone in uniform, just walk up to them, say thank you for your service, shake their hand, and thank you and good night.
Access Fort Wayne offers reflections of our community. Production facilities provided by Access Fort Wayne are a service of the Allen County Public Library. The views and opinions expressed do not necessarily represent those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting organizations. For more information about creating your own television program with Access Fort Wayne, call 421-1250.
show, The American Veteran. I'm Dale Parrish, your host. Carl Fowler is co-host. Also sitting in with us today is Jerry Fleehart. Our guest today is Norm Compton.